us back on the air. How about that? I think we're everywhere as well, which is a big deal. We were a little hindered. We were hindered for a short period of time. But back on the show. Glad you are here. Wherever you're watching, youtube.com/Cooperville Live. Also on Twitch. The kids, they're all over the Twitch. The only reason I'm on Twitch is because of my kids. So twitch.tv/Cooperville Live. Also on Facebook, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Cooperville Live. We are everywhere. Thank you for joining in the chat. Namaste. Yeah. Camera one. Welcome back. Good to see you all. Happy Tuesday. Beautiful day here in the Chippewa Valley. 84, sunshine. You know what that means? It's Crocs weather. That's what that means. Did you know this? I did not know this. I thought that Crocs were I thought we passed that. Come to find out, again, due to the little person who I call a child, it's like the thing now. They're back. Crocs are back. How do I know? I like to take his information, shove it in the brain, and I go out and observe life. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah. They're everywhere. Everywhere I went today. Crocs afoot. Now I got to order him a pair of Crocs. Perhaps one for myself as well. Big show coming up today. Big show. All the way from Australia, Jazzy K is on the show today. Pop singer extraordinaire. This girl's voice, if you have not checked it out yet, Spotify, Amazon Music, I don't care where you go find it. Go and find it and prepare to have your mind blown. Fabulous stuff. We'll talk Trap House. We'll talk Babyface. We'll talk Australia. All the things coming up today. But first, we thank our incredible sponsors. CoopervilleClothing.com. That's my clothing brand. Yes, it is super self-serving, and I'm 100% okay with that. Our Nope line we dropped last Friday. Ladies' crops, racerbacks, tees. The Nope hat line is dope. Snapbacks, the truckers, and of course we got the men's muscle tees and t-shirts. You can check them all out at CoopervilleClothing.com and all of our other stuff as well. The Bearded for Her Pleasure, all the other stuff, CoopervilleClothing.com. Another drop coming up a week from Friday. 2 new items for the yoga-centric in your life. If you have somebody who does yoga. My girlfriend obviously is a yogi, a yoga instructor. So it's heavily influenced. Speaking of heavily influenced, if you have a beard, Captain Coop's Beard Company, beard oils, beard balms, beard butters for your bearded pleasure. Got that island vibe to them. We were down in Florida, and that was the big the feedback that we got. Like, this smells like Florida. I'm like, I know. Why do I live in Wisconsin? Maybe not for long. Who knows? But check them out. We're also going to be at our first on-site event since COVID. That is coming up in August. So look for details on that on the website, CaptainCoops.com. And, of course, my buddies over at Midwest Meals, MidwestMeals.com. 16 signature meals, and you can build your own. All healthy stuff. Pop it in the microwave. Your macros are on there. Keep yourself svelte and healthy. Keep your immune system healthy. And no cleanup, which is a big plus around here, because it seems like even though we have Midwest Meals, there's still a ton of dishes. Like, I don't know. Is the dog using forks? These are questions I ask myself. Make sure you use promo code Cooper at checkout. You get 10% off your first order at MidwestMeals.com. Remember, they ship nationwide. So, voila. Check it all out at MidwestMeals.com. Cool stuff? Cool stuff. Glad you are all here. What's up, C-Dubs? C-Dubs all the way from Malaysia watching the program. We say thank you. Thank you for watching. This was cool. My buddy Jeff, we're Instagram friends now, which basically means we're homies. That's like Instagram friend and Facebook friend means you're homies. My buddy Jeff, we had Faith Schuler on last week. It was a fantastic conversation with her. And congratulations to her. They just dropped her new song on like a bunch of radio stations across the country. So call your local station and request her new song. Tell them you heard it here first. So I'm talking to Jeff, and he's like, I have this artist that you must have on your show. And I said, I am all ears, man. I'm all ears. and beard. 2 things. It's all I am. And he said, go check out It's Jazzy K on Instagram. And I did, which led me down the rabbit hole of music and following her story. And it is incredible. And I'm super excited all the way from Australia on the show. Jazzy K, welcome. How are you, my dear?
Hey, how are you?
I am super stoked to have you on the show and to hear your story. And first off, is everything good in the land of Australia? All good?
I mean, everything is good. We are unfortunately back in lockdown again from this virus, but I mean, we don't have too much information on how long it's gonna last, but we're doing okay, thank goodness. Yeah, how are you?
We're I would say free as a bird, but it's all tepid. Like we just had a big major music festival here a couple weeks ago, 20,000 people. It was great to see, and now we just sit back and hope that we're good. We just hope that we're good. But things are good over here. I know that you've had a lot of ups and downs as kind of the world has. How have you spent your time since kind of 2020 turned life on its ear? I'm sure staying hard after it, as I've seen on your Instagram. Keep on working.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not being able to travel has been a little bit hard for me, especially in the beginning, because I'm very used to working mostly in LA on my music. So being stuck at home was definitely a bit of a challenge, but it's been really great to be able to learn like new parts of being an artist, being able to learn how to like record myself and from home and find ways to kind of make things work. And thank goodness, we have technology, so we're still able to work back and forth with the team over there. But I've had to get a little bit more handsy, which is great because I'm learning new skills and it's been really fun. So that's been really good, a positive side of it all.
It seems like you've been doing a lot on socials as well, on TikTok and on Instagram. Is that kind of, is your game been forced to be upped a little bit just because it's part of the way to interact with fans and get your music and your message out there?
Definitely. I've always really enjoyed using social media to like connect with people who like my music. I've always loved doing that, but it's definitely been harder through Instagram for me to find my audience. But I found it happened well with timing because around, lockdown and stuff was around when TikTok was kind of starting to pop off a little bit more over here. So it just happened that being on TikTok helped me find a lot more people who really liked my music, and that's been really great. So feeling like that reception back has motivated me even more to like be active on it and post more because it's exciting. Like there's actually people who are interested in what I'm doing, which is great.
That's awesome. I want to take you back to kind of your origin story, if you will, because the story that I read about you in LA and this guy named Kenny, which is like, this guy named Kenny. It's a great story, but I want to take you back further than that to like, do you remember like music first finding its way into your life to the point where you started to sing and then maybe started to get some accolades from friends and family? Like, wow, this is not just a kid singing. This is someone who's actually got an abundant amount of talent.
To be honest, I wasn't really good when I was young at singing. So I just always really, really loved it. I wasn't very like naturally talented, especially with pitching and stuff. I was really off tune all the time. But I guess it was really like my passion for it because I absolutely love it. And there's nothing else in the world that I want to do. And there's also like the songwriting. So because I can write stories and I write songs, that's really, I guess, the thing that where people were like, oh shit, like she can actually write like really well. And then that just helped my craft grow even more like as a singer, as well as being like an artist, So it just kind of goes hand in hand. But I guess it was really more when I got a little bit older and got to the end of high school that I started to take it more seriously when people started to pay attention.
Where did the songwriting ability, does that come from like poetry? Like where did you first start to put, pencil down and paper and start to realize that you can construct a story? Because people think it's easy to write songs. It's maybe one of the more challenging aspects of being an artist is having the song and then being able to portray the emotion that goes along with that song. But when did it start for you, that process of writing and realizing that you had a knack to write as well?
When I was young, so I remember even from like kindergarten, I would really, really love writing stories. So like just writing like a story, like as if it was a book or something. Like I always really enjoyed telling stories. So I'm guessing that that's kind of where the origin of like being able to write songs came from. But then my biggest problem growing up, and especially in like English tests and stuff, when they would be like, oh, write a story about this, was that I was never really able to finish the story. So like I would start writing it and I'd just keep coming up with like new ideas about, oh, and then this happened and then this happened. But I was never able to like be like, okay, well then now it's ended. You know what I mean? So I guess when it came to like music, naturally, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to write a song now. You know, as I got a bit older, I was like, I want to write a song. And I realized that you don't really have to end the story. You can just write another song about the next part of the story. So it was a lot easier for me to write songs than it was to write stories because I didn't have to end them.
Yeah, because otherwise you have like a 13.5-minute Pink Floyd song and it just keeps going and going and going. You're like, all right, like we get it. No,
but exactly, just make it into a new song.
Right. Yeah, part two. Speaking of songs and artists and music and things like that, were there artists that really inspired you as a child when you were growing up and kind of going through high school? Were there like artists out there that either from their songwriting capabilities or their performance or their vocal talents that you kind of gravitated towards and maybe like really followed their story and their path? Were there those artists that influenced your path?
Well, growing up, when it came to like what my parents were listening to, like my dad and my uncle really loved Elvis. So I listened to a lot of like Elvis music and stuff like that. But when it came to me growing up, like as in my early like teenage days and stuff like that personally, because I have 2 older sisters. So we were always listening to like Christina Aguilera, Destiny's Child, you know, that kind of vibe, very like 90s R&B. That's been a huge, huge inspiration to me, as well as kind of like those old soul kind of singers like, you know, Elvis or Amy Winehouse, Aretha Franklin. Like there's kind of that combination of those 2 worlds was definitely what I was inspired by growing up and listening to.
Well, I think you can definitely feel that. You mentioned Elvis and kind of that real bluesy vibe. I think you have that, especially in Trap House, which we'll talk about here. There's pop elements to it. Obviously, there's some dance element to it. And I'm supposed to tell you that my girlfriend is she's a yoga instructor, and she's going to add Trap House to her yoga playlist.
No way.
Yeah, we were listening to it before I came down. It was like, you got to hear this song from Jazzy K. I'm going to go and interview her. And she's like, that's going on the playlist for her yoga class. I think she teaches tomorrow morning. So you're making waves.
That. That's sick.
But it's got all of those.
Take a video and send it to me. I'll post it on my story. That will be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely do that. But there's so much depth to your music that you can feel those influences of obviously the Destiny's Child, Christina Aguilera, but also that Elvis blues kind of. There's a little bit of grit to you as well, which I think finds its way in your music, which is super cool.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
So a young Jazzy K is in Los Angeles and somehow, some way ends up meeting some guy named Kenny. Like how is this? This is like the luckiest, most opportune moment that I've ever heard or read about. Tell me about this moment where you met this guy named Kenny who happened to be somebody of certain influence.
Yeah, it was really funny, and I was really embarrassed because I actually didn't realize at the time that Babyface's name is Kenny. So I was introduced randomly to this man at the W Hotel in Hollywood. My dad, it's like a bit of a story. Like my dad was on FaceTime with my sister, and then that led to a conversation with someone there, and then that led to, why are you here from Australia? Oh, your daughter's an artist. Come, like, I want to introduce you to someone. Maybe he can help out in some way. So we ended up meeting this guy, and he wanted to hear music like right on the spot. So straight away, I had my headphones ready. I played him one of my demos. And he was like, oh, have you ever met Babyface? Like the second he heard it, he was like, have you met Babyface? Have you been to his studio? And I'm like, no. And then my dad's like, don't mess with my daughter. But he actually ended up, saying, when I hear a voice like this, it's my duty to do this for you. You don't owe me anything. I just feel like it's my duty to take you to his studio and introduce you to the people there. So I didn't think I was going to be meeting Babyface. I'm thinking I'm just going to his studio. You know what I mean? Right. So we end up 5 minutes later, we're pretty much in his studio in Hollywood. And first we meet Antonio Dixon, which is Babyface's kind of business partner, I guess. They work really a lot together. They're like family. We meet him first and he shows us around. And then when we get taken into this smaller studio in the building, I get introduced to a man named Kenny, and he's like, "Oh, Jazzy, this is Kenny, and Kenny, this is Jazzy and her father from Australia." And I'm just thinking, "Oh wow, this guy is so cool! Like his skin was so shiny, and he looked like a doll. Like he literally looked like a real doll, literally like a baby face, right?" And yeah, and then I was just like, "Oh, hey," like, and he's saying to me, "Oh, Australia, you know, I'm going there soon for a show." I'm like, "Oh, no way, you're gonna come to my dad's restaurant?" Like, I had no idea. Like, I had no idea it was Babyface. If I knew, I probably would have been a bit more nervous. But I was just like, yeah, we'll hang out. Yeah. But then, yeah, it was really funny. But we ended up finding out shortly after, like, who it really was. And I was like, oh, damn.
Random guys named Kenny, you don't really get all nervous about, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. Okay, never mind. Then I guess it worked out in your benefit though, because you didn't have those nerves. Obviously, when you can get starstruck with other people, it may have turned out a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely. I think everything happens for a reason, and there was a reason that we met like that. But it's definitely a good story to tell. It's really funny.
So how is since that moment and kind of that, I don't know if that was like the transitional moment for you as far as your career goes, because obviously you had demos, you've been working on music and stuff. But was that kind of the oh wow, like oh shit moment? Like okay, now it's kind of on. Like I know the gas is in the tank now. We're ready to kind of move on things a little bit faster, maybe.
It was definitely a huge moment. Like being in this industry, it's really funny. Like there's definitely that perception of, there being that kind of like that one moment that changes everything. But I do believe that it's a lot of little moments, and this being as big as it was is another little moment in, every step towards getting to where I want to be and achieving different goals. It was like insane that it happened. And, it's one of those things where you walk away like, am I in a movie? Like, is someone pranking me right now? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm just this random girl from Australia, you know what I mean? Like, and what did I just walk into? So like, there's definitely those moments, but I think it's really important as well, like as a new and as a young artist, to always be like, thinking like properly and not just getting too excited about just one thing alone. You have to make sure you're always moving forward. But it was definitely an insane experience, and I'm very grateful for it. I was very lucky.
That's one of those moments that you'll write about in your memoirs someday. You'll be like, this one time this guy named Kenny. That's what we should call the
first time I met Babyface. I didn't know it was him.
Yeah. Sorry, Kenny. My bad.
My bad.
So Trap House is the latest single that is out right now and available to stream everywhere, which I was telling people to go and check it out. I want to talk about writing this song, because it feels like it's not just you went off into a studio somewhere or you had a scheduled recording and you put this down. It feels like there was more that went into it. Tell me about the writing process for Trap House and how it kind of it fit into the situation and scenario that you were in at the time you wrote it.
Well, I had actually just gotten back home to Australia from a trip to LA, where there was kind of like this still offered to me where I was a little bit not 100% about it. And it was something that seemed really perfect, but when you just know in your gut feeling something's not right. It was kind of like one of those moments. And I was at home and I was thinking about it, and I kind of had to come to a decision. And as I was contemplating on that decision, the lyrics for Trap House started to just sort of write itself. Like, when they say like, the song write itself, you don't really write it. So that's kind of what started happening with this song. And it was written really quickly. Like I don't remember it taking very long to finish. Like it was a very natural process for me. I was just by myself at home when I wrote it, but I knew it was really special when I wrote it. And there's always kind of like a moment in a songwriting process where I'll get this like feeling in my belly and I'm like, oh, like this is a good song. Like this is really, really special. And it'll just be like a little tiny second when I know it. And I'm like, this is a good one. So when I had finished writing the song, I was obsessed with it, but it didn't have like any production or anything. It was just a song with, in my notebook. And when we went back to LA, I remember I was lucky enough to get given this spot on like this show that happens once a week. It's like a little showcase for artists and stuff to get up and get a chance to sing. And I was singing, and then the guy who kind of runs that program, I'd never met him before. His name is Mars, and he's this like incredible producer. So he ended up seeing me performing, and he was like, oh, who's that? I want to work with her. And then when I got a chance to go to his studio, I showed him Trap House and he loved it. So he agreed to produce it for me straight away. So that was kind of like the process of like the songwriting came first and the song was there, But then when it came to actually completing it with the production and everything, that was like Mars maybe a few months later that came together. So it was a bit of a process overall, but each individual thing was pretty like natural and fast when it happened. Everything kind of fell into place for it.
It's another one of those special moments in time. You happen to be at the showcase. Mars happens to be there. I mean, that's two of those moments where you're like, huh, I'll put that in a little moment book, little magical moments that happened in Jazzy K's life.
Honestly, there's so many. And I feel like because, you know, the music industry, it's so difficult because there's no like rule book, you know, there's no guide telling you, oh, this is the way to go and then this is what you do next. You know, a lot of careers, you kind of know like the steps you got to take in order to get somewhere. And there is a very iffy kind of line of steps that you got to take in this industry. But at the same time, it's a lot of like, you know, being ready, being prepared, so you don't have to get ready, and then being there, and then just like having that moment of luck where it's like, where that guy at the W Hotel was like, I want to listen to a song, and I was like, okay, here's my headphones. Like I was ready for it. I had a demo ready. You know what I mean? It's like kind of a mix of those moments. So it's always really, really special when something good like that happens, because you don't know when it's going to happen.
Always be prepared. Always be prepared.
Yeah.
It feels like you have a really good support system around you that is really encouraging and has got your back at all moments. And you know, travel from LA to Australia, and I know that's, you know, when you have a place like LA, that's kind of the hub of where the action happens. Obviously, you had two pretty miraculous moments. I'm sure of many more that happened out there. Tell me about the people that are around you. Obviously, family and friends that really give you the you know, they hold you up anytime you start to lean backwards and keep on pushing you forwards.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm really, really close to my family. Like I grew up really close to my parents, my sisters, my brother. So we're like best friends, all of us. And whenever I'm traveling, my dad is always with me. So whenever I'm going to LA doing sessions, my dad's always next to me. And he's not just there like as a dad, he's there as like, you know, I would say like a partner in being in the industry, like as a business, like he's there as a partner for me. So that's like the biggest blessing I have and advantage that I have as an artist, because I know that a lot of people don't have that. So I'm very like thankful that I do have a family that supports me, and I'm able to have someone with me. You know, as a young girl being in LA and entering these sessions, you never know what people's intentions can be. So having my dad next to me is kind of like that, hey, like, you know, don't mess with this girl. And a lot of young girls and boys don't have that. So I feel very lucky to, you know, kind of have that on my side. That's a super big like component to me doing the things that I do and feeling comfortable and safe in the environment I'm in.
Oh, it's very, very, very cool and very important to have, especially you talked about the music industry. There's always question marks about things, but when you got dad with you, like I'm sure you feel like, that everything's going to be okay. Dad's here and he's got my back.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like I said, Trap House is out and it's streaming on all platforms. What is, you know, kind of the rest of, I know it's kind of a weird time, especially for you over in Australia with another lockdown going on, but what's kind of on your radar for the rest of the year and even looking forward to 2022 as hopefully things start to get a little less odd?
I definitely am going to be releasing more music this year. Obviously now being in lockdown, it's a little bit harder to like being back in lockdown because we weren't for a while. It is a little bit harder to get that process moving, but it's still happening. So there's still a lot that I'm doing like from home and able to do, thank goodness. So still getting the ball rolling on getting out new music. I have a lot of music ready to go that I've just been, you know, waiting for the right moment to release. So I'm very excited to put out more music and hopefully do more shows towards the end of the year when we're able to. But yeah, just keep going.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you're using, I mean, music, the industry has changed so much in the last even 5 to 10 years, just with the way the capabilities artists have to get music out. It doesn't have to be an album release. It doesn't have to be, it can be a single at some point. Do you find that the avenues are all open for you to get music out, and obviously your fan base is pretty wild. They've been jumping all over my Instagram and my Facebook over the last couple of days. Excited to see you on here. So, do you feel like you have all the avenues that you need, even in your current situation, to get that music out into people's ears?
I would feel like, you know, now it's so much easier to put out music, like you're saying, because there's so many more platforms online that independent artists can release. So that's been like amazing. And that's like the number one key to it, is actually being able to distribute your own music. I would say, you know, just really putting that extra thought behind releasing songs, you know, not just like letting them go like they're nothing, like really putting that extra love and attention behind them and making sure that the world is seeing them the way that you want them to, I would say is the biggest challenge, especially in times where things are kind of not like how they always are in the world, and we're stuck in lockdown. We're not in lockdown, you know, there's things that I'm limited to, but just really being able to get, you know, the visual and the song really aligned to how I like dream it to be and how I want people to see it, I would say is the biggest challenge right now. But besides that, I mean, it's really great, and we're super lucky to be able to release music.
Yeah. And it sounds like you spent a lot of the time that you would have been out doing other things that you weren't able to, really honing in on your craft and really getting more music. I mean, it sounds like you have a ton of music ready to go out. I'm sure a lot of that time was spent when you couldn't go out and fly or do other things that you probably wanted to do, was spent getting music ready to get out to people.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But even flying and going to LA, that's when a lot of the music was done, like that I have saved. And being home, I guess I'm doing a lot more like writing and a lot more learning on the engineering side of things. So like being more productive from home and being able to take control of more things. But I have so many, I play all of my songs on my TikTok live. I play a lot of my unreleased music when I'm on live, and they're all like, oh my God, when are you going to release this? And I'm like, soon. Don't worry, just enjoy it.
It's on the way. That's awesome.
It's like my little VIP listening sessions. It's really cute. And everyone remembers their favorites. It's awesome. The cutest thing ever. Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Well, I'm super excited for what the future holds for you. I think this, like I said, your sound is something that's different than a lot of pop that's out there right now, because it does have that back end grit to it that as a rock / country / pop / alternative / I listen to everything kind of guy. I like something that stands out a little bit, and Trap House definitely you hit the nail on the head with that one. It's a fantastic tune. Everybody go and check it out. Jazzy, where can they find you on the socials, TikTok and Instagram, all the places? Where can people find you at?
My social media is It's Jazzy K. So ITSJAZZYK. You can find me pretty much everywhere with It's Jazzy K.
I love it. Jazzy K, thank you so much for getting up early over there. I know what is it like? It's like 8:30 in the morning over there.
It's around 8:30 now. Yeah.
Thank you for getting up and being part of the show.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get
Thank
you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get you back on here sometime soon when the next single comes out.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Awesome. Take care of yourself. Jazzy K, everybody go follow her. Go listen to the music. Trap House is the latest single. More music to come, as you heard her say, a ton of it. So this is one of those artists that you get in on the ground floor. You know what I'm saying? Like get in now, and then watch it escalate, because it's going to. Extremely talented. Hi, Mom. Thanks for watching from California. She's closer to you. She's comes from a land down under. Very cool stuff. Jazzy K, It's Jazzy K on all the socials, TikTok and Instagram, and also Facebook. So make sure you follow and check out what she's got going on. Great story about meeting Babyface too. Like, it was this guy named Kenny. Oh, that Kenny, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. Yeah, good stuff. No show coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be up at Fest doing some final prep work, stuff like that. We are back on Thursday with Brennan Murphy. Has the #1 song on Billboard's Christian AC charts right now. #1 song in the country on Billboard's Christian AC charts. So Brennan will be on coming up on Thursday, and then we're back on Friday as well. So make sure you tune in. Have yourselves a great night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Go listen to some Jazzy K. Have yourself a great Tuesday night. We hit the links. Dual Sharpies all day. 2 Sharpies in hand all day. Feel good about life. All right. See ya.